What's going on, everyone? My name's Kyle and welcome to today's video, which is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be talking about my living expense goals. So I just made this Google Sheets page, and I'll have a link in the description that will bring you here, and then you can actually download this and use it yourself. You just download by going to File and then Download As, so you can actually adjust the numbers. So basically what this is breaking down is for me to live comfortably and happy and like do all the things I want to in life, how much I would be spending, and that way I have a more concrete goal of how much I need to be making in order to live this certain lifestyle that I would like to. So first we have just rent for your living expense. I put that as $2,500. Insurance for wherever you're living, $50 a month. This is all monthly costs. And then utility bill, $250. So for living expenses, $2,800. For car, my dream car is the Corvette Z06, right? So I did actually in this other sheet, the car is about $70,000 with a down payment of $10,000, and through my bank that gives me really good interest rates, which I got at 2.5%. For a $60,000 loan, monthly payment comes down to $1,025 a month, and the cost of the loan actually isn't that much. Over the life of the loan, it only came out to be $1,500 that I'm paying extra because I'm getting a loan, and they're loaning me money versus just paying with cash. Growing up, I always kind of thought, okay, you got to buy it with cash because if you don't have the money, it doesn't make sense. But for getting it that far in advance, whatever, this is 60 months and only having to pay an extra, it's 2.5%, so, $1,500. It's not really a huge hit to your wallet. And that way, even if you do have the money, you can use that money to invest in other areas of your business and not have it just sitting in a car when you could have taken out a loan for it. So that's the car expense. Back to all the other expenses. So $1,025 for the car loan, insurance $200 a month I estimate, gas $250, just regular maintenance $175. So that comes out to $1,650. And then just other random stuff, groceries $400. I wanted like a travel budget of $350 a month. Not that I'm traveling every month, but I'll have that saved up. That way I can go on a couple trips a year to cool places and not have to worry about that. Entertainment $500 a month. If I'm going to the movies or going to grab drinks or whatever else, $500 for that. Random other stuff, maybe how much you're spending on clothes or just random stuff around the house. Maybe you need a new printer, just random stuff like that. I put $500 allotted to that stuff, and then that totals out to be $1,750. So on top of that, per the advice of Tanner, he recommended that you save a lot of your money, especially when you start making more money. You'd be stupid to spend it all. So he recommended saving about 50% of your income. I was comfortable doing, $4,000, or I would be happy to save $4,000 a month from my income. So I put that right there, and then grand total of all my expenses is $6,200 a month, and then with my savings budget of $4,000, that is $10,200 a month. Those items come out to be for the year $74,000 in expenses and $48,000 in savings. So my goal would be to save up about $100,000. So for 2 years, that's about on track. So 2 years of making this timeline, that would be enough to have a down payment on a home or an apartment or whatever else. And then, so together, all those expenses with savings comes out to be $122,400 for the year that I need to live that lifestyle. But that's not how much you need to take home because you also have taxes. So for this tax bracket, I would be at a 33% taxable rate. So then my gross income of how much I actually need to be making per day before taxes is $182,000 and $700. So with that in mind, I feel like that's kind of daunting. That seems like an insane amount of money. But when you break it down into smaller increments and by the month and by the day, it's kind of easier to picture and easier to make a game plan of how I'm going to make that money per day or per month, right? So I broke it down to monthly income and daily income. The monthly income is $15,000, which still seems like a lot. Day income is $500, and I feel like that's not a ridiculous amount. $500, I feel like, is something that is doable. It's not just crazy. I mean, when you look at like $200,000, it just seems like I can't even imagine that much money at this point in my life. But $500, okay, I can maybe make that happen. So that's easier. Just the mental aspect of that can really help you, kind of overcome those hurdles. Telling yourself that like you can't do that. So I also threw in here just so I have an idea with those expenses and not taking into account like those savings goals. My like daily income would need to be just over $300, $308. And I just threw that in there just because basically anything above what like I'm setting this out to be. So if I was making any more than $300 a day, that would just be my expenses. Everything else would basically go to savings and investments. So even if I was making, much more than this is kind of where I would want to be. And then everything else, at least for a little bit, would just go straight into investments and savings. So this is kind of like the baseline of, okay, this is minimum what I would need to be making to, attain those goals. So those are my goals for my living expenses at some point. If you do end up downloading this and trying to edit it, one thing to keep in mind is that I have a ton of equations on this Excel sheet. So all you need to do is adjust the shaded boxes. So for whatever works for you. So maybe you want to live in an area that your rent is going to be way more than $2,500. Maybe you want to live on the beach and that's your dream or whatever, and you're going to spend $7,000 a month on rent. Or maybe you aren't into that and you just want a one-bedroom apartment in a nice area and it's $1,000. I mean, living expenses are different everywhere you go, but you just change that shaded box to whatever fits your need, and then that'll automatically sum up right here in this box that's not shaded. And then again, with all the car stuff, you can put in your own expenses or your estimated expenses for what you would want, and it'll come out to a total down there. Same with all this miscellaneous stuff. And then savings, you can just put your savings goal per month that you would like to reach. And then once that's in, everything else besides tax rate, you can adjust the tax rate depending on where you live. I'm in California and making $180 or under $200,000. You're taxed at like 33% right now. So I just threw that in. But if wherever you are is different, you can just look it up real quick. Change that 33 to whatever you want, and then everything else will adjust accordingly on the sheet. So all of these numbers will change depending on what you put in. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It's a little different than my usual stuff that I put out, but I thought it was kind of interesting and exciting just to kind of look at these, goals. I know it's kind of silly, like your expenses are goals, but just living that lifestyle, what it really means, and how much money you need to be making to live that life that you want for yourself. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Make sure to check in the description to download it, and you can throw in your own numbers and see where you need to be at per month and per day to live that dream life.